Hey, you're joining Chris and Cassie here for another deep dive.
Hi, everyone.
Ready to explore some fascinating ideas with you.
We're doing what the deep dive is all about, digging into listener-suggested material to pull out the really useful stuff. Think of this as your fast track to being well-informed.
Yeah, and this specific deep dive, it's tailored just for you.
Today, we're focusing on a really interesting YouTube video someone shared. It's called 10 Japanese Minimalist Habits to Declutter Your Mind and Home Forever.
Right, from the Essence of Simple Living channel. And honestly, it's packed with practical stuff, all rooted in some, well, pretty deep Japanese principles.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how these habits, they draw on ideas like Wabishabi, Danshari, and Kaizen, how they can help us, declutter not just our homes, but our minds too. Yeah,
because what's super interesting, I think, is that Japanese minimalism, it's not just about like having white walls in an empty room.
Right.
It's a whole philosophy, really. It suggests that simplicity, it can actually lead to a richer, more fulfilling life.
Okay, let's dive in then. Habit number 1, embracing ma. What's the core idea there?
Ma. Such a cool concept. In Japanese design, it basically means purposeful, empty space.
Purposeful?
Yeah, think of it like the silence between notes and music, or a pause in a conversation. It's not just nothing. That space gives meaning to everything around it.
Gotcha. So the habit is about creating that kind of intentional emptiness. Like the video says, clear a surface, put just 1 or 2 things you really love there.
Exactly. And the thinking is this physical emptiness, this ma in your space, it can directly, influence your mental clarity.
Makes sense. Less visual noise.
Right. When your surroundings are less busy, it just feels easier to focus, maybe make decisions without feeling quite so overwhelmed. And think about it. Less visual clutter might mean less temptation too.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, if you have that clear space, you might be less tempted by those impulse buys that would just fill it up again. So it kind of indirectly helps your finances too.
Ah, I see that connection. Less temptation staring you in the face. Okay, habit 2 is Danshari. What's that about?
Danshari. Okay, this one's a bit more active. It's a 3-step process for decluttering. Refuse, discard, and separate.
Refuse, discard, separate. Can you walk us through that, like, with an example?
Sure. Let's take your wardrobe. Refuse is about being way more conscious about bringing new stuff in. Stopping those, it's on sale buys if you don't need it.
Guilty. Okay.
Right. Then discard is pretty straightforward. Getting rid of clothes that are worn out, don't fit, or you just honestly never wear.
The easy part, maybe.
Sometimes. But then separate. That's the tricky one. It's about dealing with the emotional stuff, things you feel guilty getting rid of, or things with memories attached. The video stresses acknowledging those feelings, so you can let the item go, donate it, recycle it with intention. It frees up closet space, sure, but also that mental space, that guilt. And again, being mindful here, less likely to buy similar stuff later, save you money.
So it's really a mental process, too, not just physical sorting. Dealing with the why behind keeping things. Okay, next up. Wabi-sabi. I feel like I've heard this one before. Maybe in design.
You probably have. Wabi-sabi is, it's a core Japanese idea and aesthetic. It's all about finding beauty in things that are imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete.
Imperfect. Like how?
Like appreciating things that are aged or a bit worn, maybe slightly flawed. Think of a wooden table with scratches from years of use, or maybe a favorite mug with a tiny chip.
Okay, so instead of wanting everything shiny and new all the time?
Exactly. You learn to appreciate the character of things you already own, and naturally that reduces the urge to constantly replace stuff just because it's not perfect anymore.
I can see how that would quiet down that inner voice saying, buy, buy, buy.
Totally. It fosters gratitude for what you have. And that shift, big impact on spending habits. You're less driven by needing the newest thing. It saves money, obviously.
Contentment becomes the goal, not perfection. I like that. Okay, habit 4. Prioritize quality over quantity. Feels linked to wabi-sabi somehow.
It definitely is. The video talks about investing in, say, one really well-made thing that'll last instead of buying like 5 cheap versions that break. It's about respecting resources.
We've all done that, right? Buy the cheap tool, it breaks, you end up buying the better one anyway, costing more in the end.
Precisely. So investing in quality means less clutter over time because you just own fewer things. And like you said, it usually saves money long term because you're not constantly replacing stuff.
Plus, less hassle.
Yeah, less hassle, less stress managing broken things. There's a satisfaction in just having fewer, better things.
Definitely less stressful. Okay, habit 5. Kaizen. I know this from like Business contexts. Continuous improvement.
That's the one. Kaizen is just that.
Yeah.
Making small, continuous improvements. Applied to minimalism, it means tackling decluttering or organizing in tiny, manageable steps.
So not like a massive weekend overhaul that leaves you exhausted.
Right. Instead, maybe you spend just 5 minutes tidying one drawer. Or delete 10 old emails you don't need.
Okay. Small bites.
Exactly. These little actions, they might seem tiny, but they really add up. They build momentum. And you create that clear home and mind without the overwhelm. It makes the whole thing sustainable.
Yeah, big projects can feel paralyzing. 5 minutes feels doable.
And you're less likely to give up.
Right.
Which, again, indirectly might save you money. You avoid needing, huge storage bins or professional organizers later because you keep on top of it.
That's a good point. Okay, habit 6 moves away from stuff and towards our time. Simplifying your schedule.
Yeah, this is about being really intentional with your time. Learning to say no more often to things that aren't truly essential or meaningful to you.
Looking at your calendar, like you look at your closet, what needs to go.
Pretty much. And the idea is that freed up time creates space. Space for hobbies, rest, things you actually want to do.
Because an overstuffed schedule feels just as cluttering as an overstuffed room.
Exactly. It creates mental clutter, stress. So simplifying your schedule gives you breathing room, lets you focus. And that mental space, maybe you use it to think about your finances better or even start a side project. Less stress often means better decisions all around.
That's another interesting angle on the financial side. Less stress, better choices. Okay, number 7 takes us online. Curating your digital life feels very necessary today.
Oh, absolutely. Our digital spaces can get so cluttered, right? Endless newsletters, apps we never use, social media feeds that just drain us.
Tell me about it.
So this habit is about applying those same decluttering principles like Danshari to your digital world.
Like unsubscribing from emails, deleting unused apps, maybe unfollowing social media accounts that make you feel bad or aren't inspiring.
Exactly that. Streamlining your digital life frees up so much attention. It cuts down the mental noise, boosts your focus. Think how much time we waste just navigating digital junk.
Yeah, true.
Clearing it out is liberating. And, bonus, maybe saves you money by reducing the temptation from all those targeted ads and online shopping rabbit holes.
A digital declutter. Good call. Habit 8. Mindfulness through monotasking.
Right. Basically doing one thing at a time, really focusing on it without distractions. The video connects it to Zen principles, grounding you in the present.
Which feels almost radical now. We're all supposed to be multitasking masters.
I know. But constantly switching gears, it fragments your attention, right? It actually makes you less productive, often leads to mistakes.
Yeah, I can feel that sometimes.
So when you monotask, whether it's cooking, working, or just talking to someone, you do it better. And you're decluttering your mind from that constant juggling act. Better focus, better efficiency, maybe even better work outcomes, which can tie back to finances.
Makes sense. Being fully present usually leads to better quality. Okay, number 9. Cultivate gratitude daily feels very positive.
It really is. The suggestion is simple. Each morning, just name 3 things you're thankful for. It links back to Wabishabi, appreciating the ordinary, shifting focus from lack to abundance.
How does gratitude connect to decluttering, though? Seems more like a mindset thing.
It is a mindset shift, but it hugely impacts mental clutter. When you focus on gratitude, you're less likely to feel that constant dissatisfaction, that endless wanting of more.
Okay. Less keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. It can really curb impulse spending and accumulating stuff you don't actually need, which again helps the bank balance. It's appreciating what is rather than chasing what's next.
That's powerful. Okay, last one. Habit 10. Create rituals of release.
This is about making letting go a regular practice. Maybe once a month, you reflect on what's weighing you down. Could be physical stuff, digital files, or even mental burdens, worries, guilt.
And then you consciously let one thing go, like donating a book, deleting an old project file, maybe journaling about a worry to get it out of your head.
Precisely. It's a ritual to keep things clear physically and mentally. It prevents clutter from building back up. It makes minimalism sustainable, not just a one-off purge. And, stops you needing more storage or bigger clearouts later.
So these 10 habits, all flowing from these Japanese ideas, they really cover a lot of ground. Physical, mental. The video summarized the overall benefits too, right?
Yeah, it did. It talked about the transformation. Physically, obviously, an easier home to maintain. Financially, like we've touched on, saving money, less financial stress because you're consuming more mindfully.
And mentally, less stress, better focus. It even mentions studies linking simpler environments to lower stress hormones like cortisol.
Right. And emotionally, you get more gratitude, more presence. Spiritually, maybe aligning more with your purpose because you're not distracted by stuff. And environmentally, of course, less consumption is more sustainable.
It really puts it in contrast with, as the video said, mindless accumulation. That constant cycle of wanting more, which often just leads to clutter, stress, and anxiety.
Totally. There's that anecdote, too, about Ayeko, the graphic designer, how adopting these habits really changed her life and even boosted her creativity. Clearer space, clearer mind, better work.
Yeah, that was a great example. It really drives home that this isn't about depriving yourself. It's about figuring out what's enough for you.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming your space, your time, your energy, your focus, your soul, maybe. Choosing intention over excess.
So for someone listening right now, feeling maybe a bit overwhelmed by all their stuff or just mental noise, what's one tiny step they could take based on these habits?
Well, the video had some good starting points. Maybe just clear off one single surface, your desk, a countertop, see how that feels.
Okay.
Or say no to one thing this week you don't really have to do. Free up a little time. Or try that gratitude thing tomorrow morning. Just name 3 things.
Small steps. That Kaizen principle again.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be all or nothing. Just start somewhere.
That feels really practical, a good takeaway. So maybe the question for everyone listening is, what's one thing I can release right now to make a little room for what really matters?
That's a great question to end on.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification bell for more real talk on hot viral topics.
Tell us what topic you want us to deep dive on in the comments section.
Bye, everyone.
And see you again in our next podcast.